Welcome to Inside Games, the only gaming news show brave enough to love the Elden Ring DLC.
Well, actually, we were talking about that before the episode. Maybe we're more games journalists than we thought, Bruce, because we got some issues, but we can't say that yet because everyone loves the DLC, and if we contradict that, then we really will be games journalists.
Ooh, I mean, we could figure out some way that Shadow of the Erdtree is not woke enough, right? At some point. The enemies aren't non-binary? I don't know.
Yeah, make them more just drag that slider right up. Make them less binary? Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, I'll say this. Hey, having to beat Moog to start the DLC sure did make me feel like a games journalist. Shit, that boss fight was no joke.
Yeah, no, it is not a joke, and I'm glad I did it years ago because I did not want to do it again. That didn't stop the critics, though, from giving the expansion amazing reviews, even though you have to beat this boss to play the $40 DLC, which we will cover in just a moment. We've also got a recap of Nintendo's surprisingly excellent Direct earlier this week, some heartwarming news from the developers of Helldivers 2.
A little bit of everything for everybody on today's Inside Games Roundup, so let's kick it off with Shadow of the Erdtree reviews, which are all very positive. From Software released the expansion to their 2022 smash hit Elden Ring this week, and already it's secured the title of highest rated DLC of all time.
That's based on the current Metacritic aggregate score of 95, which lands at just a few notches above 2016's Blood and Wine expansion for Witcher 3, which everybody also said was the greatest DLC of all time, and that was rated at 92.
Yeah, similar things, like it's big enough to be a whole game, so that's always fun. Critics agreed that it earned every one of those 95 Metacritic points, though, with Games Radar praising the game's gorgeous vistas, superb boss fights, and a range of fun new gear.
Meanwhile, VG247 calls Shadow of the Erdtree a worthy upgrade to what is already an unforgettable adventure.
But despite that glowing praise, there are some reviewers out there brave enough to point out that maybe it's not all perfect. We'll go over their comments right after a quick word from today's sponsor, Marvel Strike Force.
Inside Games is brought to you by Marvel Strike Force. Marvel Strike Force is a mobile squad RPG that allows you to battle with your favorite team of superheroes and supervillains in a fight to save the universe against threats like Doctor Doom and Apocalypse. Your goal is to power up your favorite Marvel characters to complete missions, unlock gear and other resources, and of course, beat other players in PvP modes such as Alliance War and Real-Time Arena. Recruit over 250 Marvel superheroes and supervillains to your roster, such as, and you know them, you love them, Wolverine, Iron Man, Venom, Thanos. And if you're a new player, you can unlock up to 17 total characters within the first 30 days, including Spider-Man, Deadpool, Thor, and my favorite, Captain America. And of course, many, many more. There are almost countless ways to battle with your roster, and the meta is always evolving. Along with the campaigns, Blitz, and Arena, there's also Alliance War, which is a massive weekly Alliance battle. There are raids and Cosmic Crucible, where you go head-to-head against other players in a tournament. So use our link in the description to download Marvel Strike Force for free and get to level 7, and that's the way they'll know you're supporting Inside Games. I'm like level 30, 40. I've played a lot of this. So play along with me in Marvel Strike Force. Hey, welcome back. All right, like we said before the ad, the 95 rating for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC might be a bit puffed up right now.
That's kind of how it tends to happen, by the way, with game reviews.
Yeah,
all the early ones tend to be a little more glowing, and then some of the more reasoned takes filter in after the fact. So here's kind of the breakdown there. It is worth noting that the 95 rating is specifically for the PlayStation 5 version, which also lacks numbered scores from more traditional outlets like Kotaku and Polygon.
The PC version, however, has a few more dissenting opinions. Silicon Era claims that, quote, the boss fights weren't challenging in a way that felt rewarding when I did manage to beat them.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm understanding that more and more the more I play Elden Ring. Eurogamer's review is perhaps the most pointed in its criticism, decrying the uncharacteristic over-communication in the expansion, like obvious tutorial messages telling the player to hit them where they're weakest, as though a person who's played Elden Ring for 40 hours at this point doesn't understand that you have to stab the glowing bits to get extra damage?
Weird. Eurogamer's review also points out the final boss of the DLC goes way beyond Elden Ring's usual input reading bullshittery, which we all know, to genuinely frustrate and upset the player. Quote, this feels like difficulty for difficulty's sake. Turned up to 11, perhaps because with the added expectations of a DLC, having something extra absurd to conquer, even though it technically doesn't require finishing the core game. And this makes sense to me.
It makes sense too, and I was worried about that, because some of the bosses in Elden Ring were starting to top out in the not fun category of just blah, 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 blah. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm not looking forward to fighting it. Time will tell if Erd Tree retrain. Oh my God, what a combination!
It's hard
of words.
to say. Yeah, no.
Time will tell if Erd Tree retains that highest rated DLC title, or if perhaps some more critical reviews are taking a little longer to filter in. I mean, I have issues on the PC version too, because it still runs bad. I was hoping they were going to patch the core components of the game, but it seems like it's just the exact same engine with a couple of tweaks. It's still locked at 60, it still chugs all the time, and it crashed twice. But then again, I was trying to mod out the frame rate, so who knows?
I didn't crash for me at all, but it still stutters. And I don't remember it even stuttering when it launched, weirdly. So like,
it did for me badly.
Oh, did it? Okay, yeah. No, well, it's been stuttering. Seems like a lot more, which is very odd. The game is beautiful, by the way. It looks amazing. I love the character designs and the boss designs and the world designs. Just amazing, and they keep topping themselves there. But there are a few issues with, like, Eurogamer's talking about the Elden Ring bosses. People were talking about, it's like it's too hard. Like, oh, just get good. And I'm like, no. There are some bosses that are just kind of dumb bullshit that you have to be like, well, let's just wait until it doesn't do the one attack that's going to, one hit whatever health bar I have.
Yeah, yes, I agree. There's a difference between expressing skill and then just, learning how to dodge waves of bullshit until you eventually get to victory, which is not as satisfying as classic FromSoft or even Soulsborne's encounters typically are. But I haven't made it there yet myself. I'm having a great time just wandering around looking at a bunch of pretty flowers.
Me too.
Crawling through caves. So everything's good for me for now.
Yeah, me too. All right, let's move on to Nintendo's Direct, which was maybe one of the greatest Directs they've ever done recently.
Yeah, Nintendo shocked the world this week with a Nintendo Direct that showed a solid lineup for what we all assume is the twilight year for the Switch.
The show's finale reintroduced us to Metroid Prime 4, originally introduced way back during E3 2017. Which just dated that whole thing twice. So that's crazy. 7 years ago.
E3? Gosh, can you even remember?
Yeah.
Nintendo announced that development restarted on the game in January 2019, though, with development moving from Bandai Namco back to the original trilogy's developers at Retro Studios.
Since then, we haven't heard much, but Samus is back. Or at least the intergalactic bounty hunter will be back in 2025, causing folks to speculate that it might be a simultaneous release on whatever the next generation Switch ends up being. So maybe a Switch 2 and original Switch. So we might get some, really nice textures on the new one.
Just higher frame rate, higher resolution. That would be great for a first-person shooter. Good showcase for a new console, too.
Yeah.
Clearly, folks have waited a while for this news, and you can tell. Thanks to our reporter on the street, Kirby GCN17, who recorded the live reaction from the show floor at Nintendo's New York store.
Metroid isn't the only franchise shambling around, though. Nintendo also announced a new top-down Legend of Zelda game titled Echoes of Wisdom, where, finally, you play as Zelda.
She earned it. Finally, she gets to walk around and be in the sun rather than employ the usual sword and shield and just raft of exploratory gadgets that are typical to a Zelda game. Zelda herself uses a wand that can store and copy world objects to make stairs or interact with enemies and just generally solve environmental puzzles.
Nintendo also announced a new Mario and Luigi game, which is different than a Mario game that also includes Luigi. This is another in the Game Boy Advance and DS series of action RPGs, which has the brothers participating in turn-based RPG combat and exploring wacky fantasy worlds. I mean, you're going to save a princess here or there, like you do.
A new princess for a new Mario, yeah. I really like the Mario and Luigi games. They were sort of the heir apparent to Super Mario RPG, which also just got re-released. Alpha Dream was the studio that made all those games, and they're not around anymore. So I guess this is just internal at Nintendo somewhere. Regardless, Mario and Luigi's delightful. The music's usually banger. The writing's usually really funny. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's move on to another amazing story. This was great because I was actually doing this in real time in Helldivers, and then I found out about it afterwards. Helldivers 2 actually saved real children.
Last week, the developers of Helldivers posed a real Sophie's Choice to all their players. 2 planets are calling for help, and you can only liberate 1.
First is home to, I quote, Super Citizen Anne's Hospital for very sick children. Meanwhile, the second planet had the raw materials necessary to unlock a new weapon, MD-17 anti-tank mines. So you get anti-tank mines, or you save children for Super Red.
Well, they are sick, though, so... Luckily, the red-blooded patriots playing Helldivers 2 didn't hesitate, wasted no time, and they saved the children in just a few days. Inspired by this humbling act of heroism, Arrowhead CCO Johan Pilstedt made a real-life donation of over $4,300 US to save the children, a charity, and encouraged others to do the same.
Yeah, and just in case you still have the taste for baby blood, fear not. The next major order coming down from command involves utilizing the new Hive Breaker drill on terminid-infested planets to cleanse their nurseries. So what you're doing is you're killing the terminid babies. Just so the bug babies is what you're killing.
You save the kids on one hand, you cleanse the nurseries on another. Sunrise, sunset.
Still, we salute Arrowhead Studios for not only continually putting cool narrative events in their games, but finding a way to encourage real-life generosity on top of it. Because I was like, when I logged in, I was like, well, I got to save the children. I mean, who cares about the anti-tank mines? We got to save the kids. And I had no idea they were going to do this donation, so it's really cool.
Super, super cool. Yeah, and I saw other people kind of joining in, chipping in $10 here or there on Twitter, so love to see it.
League of Legends news, game director Pulu frankly admitted that League of Legends isn't drawing in younger players anymore, and its player base is actually starting to age up.
Yeah, it's an interesting quote here, quoting Liu here. Candidly, it's not the same situation as it was 10 years ago, where you're in middle school or high school and League is the game everyone's talking about, that everybody's playing. There's a lot of other games that we're competing with now.
That's true. That is absolutely true. And like, honestly, Riot made Valorant, and I don't know that Valorant's biting into League of Legends because they're two different genres, but maybe a little.
Maybe, yeah, a little self-competition. I don't know, I like seeing the eras come and go, especially when a lot of games discourse seems to be rooted in this weirdly flawed idea that the perfect game will last forever. Technically it did, because it was called chess or Go or Pac-Man, whatever, Tetris. But people talk about that like freshly launched games as service games, and you know, they could be popular for a while, but life moves on. So, all right, we're done thinking. Let's get a 5-second review for Shadow of the Erdtree.
We really needed Brian for that. I wish he were here to say that.
Yeah, Brian's on vacation, by the way. I should have said that way earlier.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
didn't write it in the script. That's why he's not here.
All right, Lawrence, hit us with that 5-second review of Shadow of the Erdtree.
This is the one game that gave me back-to-back migraines. 2 migraines, 2 days. I'm gonna see if it can give me a third. 10 out of 10.
I was, Lawrence. Maybe you should stop playing for like a second.
I really should. Yeah, I really, really should. I want to play it badly, but I also don't want my head to explode again. So, I understand what the Helldivers community had to deal with now.
It's like From Software is designing a game to make you hurt physically.
Yeah, I don't get it, because I play a bunch of other gnarly, like Tetris 99, crazy rhythm games, Doom Eternal. Theoretically, these are all games that and they get me a little heated too, but I don't know, that Moog fight really did get under my skin, because it was just BS, man.
That's because it is BS.
Maybe I gotta...
No, just center yourself. Anybody that tells you it's not BS, they're objectively wrong. So there's input reading, and it's no big deal. The game is trying to cheat you, so what you do is you try to cheat the game. That's it. That's all you do. And then if somebody gives you shit about it, you just point at the bullshittery of Moog. That's all it is. You just got to win. Win is a win, Lawrence. You go get them.
You're right about that. You're right about that, Bruce. Yeah. Utter wisdom. All right. Let's see what's coming out this week. Probably won't give anyone migraines. First up, we got the Riven remake. I take it back. Riven might do it. Uncover a story of intrigue, betrayal, and civilization teetering on the brink of collapse as you solve intricate puzzles to unlock the secrets of Riven. Built from the ground up and expanded from the award-winning original game released in 1997, Riven Remake launches on June 25th for PC, Mac, PC VR, and MetaQuest 2 and 3.
Up next, Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. A ripe new adventure awaits. Uncover the secrets of the legendary banana in solo or 4-player co-op. Featuring 200 all-new stages set across different worlds, experience a delightful tale filled with new friends, rivals, and twists, and turns told through fully developed cutscenes either solo or with others in local or online 4-player co-op, coming to the Nintendo Switch on June 25th.
Somehow when I tell Steph to uncover the secrets of the legendary banana, she's not very enthused. Next up, we got Until Then. A fateful meeting sets off a chain reaction upending Mark's life. People disappear and memories prove unreliable. Uncover a hidden truth within Mark and his friends in this narrative adventure, and race to unravel the mystery before it's too late. Till Then launches on Steam on June 25th.
Up next, Neo Sprint. This sounds like a Lawrence game. The exhilarating Atari racing classic Sprint series returns, which I'd never heard of. Neo Sprint zooms back to life as a single-screen arcade racer for up to 8 players, paired with a robust track builder and intuitive sharing tools, ensuring a racing experience that satisfies speed demons and architects alike. It comes to literally every platform you could think of June 27th.
Yeah, when Xbox One is in there, you know they put it on everything. And speaking of Lawrence games, it's back. And there's a 2 in the title, accidentally. Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. We got to 20th Anniversary before we could get Beyond Good and Evil 2. Yowza. Return to Hillis alongside Jade, Paige, Double H, and all of Beyond Good and Evil's colorful characters and embark on a journey that will literally take you to the moon. Discover the new anniversary gallery, the reorchestrated iconic soundtrack, and more in this special edition. Beyond Good and Evil's 20th Anniversary Edition launches June 25th for PS5, everything. We'll just say everything.
Yeah. And apparently this version will contain a narrative link to Beyond Good and Evil 2, which Ubisoft repeated for the 29th time, is still real and in development, which I don't believe it, but I guess it is.
Yeah, PC Gamer actually counted it up.
Yeah.
29 times. They have reminded us more years than has passed since the original game's release that it's still being made. So. It's the king of vaporware now. There's no disputing it.
I want to say thank you very much to the patrons that support us every single month on the Inside Games Patreon. These patrons actually still believe in Beyond Good and Evil 2. Good for them. John Warren Gilardi, Alex Stone, Blunt Smoking, Anus Destroyer, Monkey Butlers, Nightport, Tally Monochrome, Baku Bomb, and Jonathan Lanowski.
Yeah, it's truly because of the patrons that we're able to make this content and get the scripts going and get the edits all nice and tight. So we really appreciate it. We like doing things that are a little more constructed than just rambling into a webcam and kicking it out to edit. So thank you very much for enabling that to happen. Because of that, I got some patrons that have, believe it or not, they've already played Beyond Good and Evil 2. But they haven't said a thing about it, but they've played it. Xander, Dylan Hiley, Regulus, Tito 007, Ray Pichardo, Pitstrip, Keto White, and Brown Sugar. I am jealous.